What's good, Seibelmaniacs? Welcome back to another edition of the Seibelmania and Friends podcast. I, of course, am Seibelmania, and I'm here today with a friend, Brandon Yelverton. Is that how you pronounce your last name, man?
Yelverton, yeah.
Yelverton. All right. Brandon, what's up, man? How are you?
Oh man, I am pumped. One of your Cybomaniacs here on
Heck
the
yeah.
podcast, bro. Like, let's go. I'm hyped, man.
Oh,
I've been
cheers
looking
to
forward
that,
to
man.
this shit all week. All week, man.
I appreciate you, bro. It's
Yes,
good to
sir.
have you on here. I know when I first asked people in our group chat that we're in if they wanted to be a part, you were all over that. So I appreciate you for
Yes,
stopping
of
in to
course.
rock with me. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are just going to discuss wrestling. Whatever comes up, it comes up, I guess. I know you and I kind of had a plan to talk about stars of like popular stars from popular eras. And we can
Mm-hmm.
certainly do that. We can also talk about whatever happens to pop up. But first
Yeah,
things
most
first,
definitely.
first things first, I know you'll probably chuckle at this, but I got to pay tribute to Alexa Bliss's pet pig who passed away sadly. First and foremost, I want to say rest in peace to what was her pig's name? It was two names. I know that if I can
Uh,
remember. Um, Larry Steve. So rest in peace to
yes,
Larry Steve, and sending our wishes to Alexa Bliss and our thoughts and our prayers to her as well. So um,
most definitely, man.
that being said, because I know what it's like to lose a family pet and it sucks. They're a part of your family, so
Oh yeah, without a doubt,
definitely.
man.
Second thing that I want to say is last week I did a Samplemania and Friends podcast with my friend Chris P.S. Martin, and unfortunately that video got copyrighted. It's still up on YouTube.
What?
Everybody can still check it. I understand why it got copyrighted. It got copyrighted because I used a SmackDown clip and I
Ah,
didn't think about it at the time. And it's no issues. There's no problems.
gotcha.
It just it just was a copyright, and I mean it didn't get blocked.
Okay,
It didn't
cool.
get me in trouble. It was just hey, careful.
Yeah, I know how those go, man. And I mean, that
Yes.
was a great episode, by the
Well,
way,
well,
too,
thank
man.
you. I appreciate that, and I hope we can top that episode this week. So what? Let's ask this question: when did you start getting into professional wrestling? Like, when did you start watching?
Ooh, so I'm kind of young, man. I guess relative to like a lot of other people I know that enjoy watching professional wrestling. But I've been into it since I was a little kid. I remember it was either let's say my uh, when I was like 4 years old that Christmas, I remember getting like the old school WWF Titantron, where if you put the figures up there, like the entrance music plays.
I remember
And
that. I remember
yes,
that, and it had like Road Dogg and X Pac and Vince, right?
yes, it did. It
Okay.
did, man.
Yeah.
It was sick, man, because I still have it. I
I
don't know
had
if it
one of
works
those
as
too.
well as it did. You say you still have yours too?
I do.
Oh
I
man,
no,
yeah.
I don't
Mine's
have it.
probably
I
not
don't
as in
have it
good
anymore.
condition though.
I did have one though, but
Gotcha,
I don't have it
gotcha.
anymore, unfortunately. And if I do, it's lost somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, man. Mine's right in my closet right there. I still have some of those figures that went with it, but my older brother, my dad were big professional wrestling fans. So I was a young kid, like around the Monday Night War. So, you know, I mean, I was 4 years old in the year 2000. So that kind of gives you
Wow, wow,
context.
wow,
I
wow.
was born
So
in 96. So,
you were born in '96. Okay, so I was born in '93. So
yeah, so
and
you were a bit older. You were actually able to remember, like, watching it.
yeah, so I actually started watching with my dad. Uh, And who, by the way, just a little fun fact, man, his name is also Brandon. So, uh,
Oh, man, look.
yeah.
Hey,
And
surrounded
shout
by
out to all
great
the
company.
Brandons out there.
Hey, yes,
Anyway,
sir.
and yeah, I started watching with my pops when I was 4 years old, and
Yes.
he got me hooked onto it. And unfortunately, he's not watching much anymore. I'll get him to
Mm,
watch the occasional like pay-per-view or match with me.
Right, right.
I mean, he watched WrestleMania 37. Was it this year? He
Yes.
watched that night one with
Well,
me.
that's
Then
good.
night two, he watched, and then night two, my uncle came over and watched with me. So he got
Hey,
off the
that's
hook for
good.
night two, but no, it's cool. So I get him to watch with me every now and again. Uh, but yeah, he got me hooked when I was 4 years old, and I've just been a WWE fan ever
Hmm.
since. And then I became a TNA fan in like 2004. And one distinct memory I have was my mom picked me up from school one day. I was after school. She picked me up. We went over to her friend's house, and I remember watching her friend's TV and just scrolling through the channels. And all of a
Hmm.
sudden, I see wrestling. I'm like, and I thought it was boxing at
Yes.
first, so I passed through it, and then I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
And I scroll back, and I'm like, this isn't boxing, this is wrestling. And I'm like, what
Yeah.
is this? And I'm trying to look for like a logo or something, and I see it, and then I see it says TNA. I'm like, oh, okay, because
Yeah.
in 2004 I was still very much innocent, and so I didn't know what TNA meant at the time, right? So I go home and I type in TNA.com, and it took me to this whole other website that I was like, pretty sure
Yo.
this isn't what I saw on television.
Oh yeah, man. It was
But
much. I was
I
much older before I
once I
figured out what it meant.
yeah. Well, once I figured that, I'm like, okay. So then I Googled TNA wrestling,
Yes.
and it took me to that website. I'm like, okay, and I got familiar with the product, and I've been a TNA wrestling fan ever since 2004 as well.
That's
Um,
excellent, man.
yeah. I remember watching. I think the match I saw was actually they put like a huge X. It was the Ultimate X match. They had the
Yes.
X with the wires and I remember going back to my place and I had that. Of course, I had action figures. I still do.
Yeah.
My nephews love to play with them. Um,
I have to keep mine away from mine, man.
yeah.
I'm like trying to build up this great collection. Yeah, I've been keeping mine ever
Oh,
since.
I have
Like I said, I was a kid.
I have
Still
two.
collecting to this day too.
Yeah, I got two action figures that they're not allowed to touch, and I'm not even touching them. They're still in their like original package,
Ooh.
and
Yeah, which ones are those?
they are the Undertaker. I can show you real quick. Give me one second.
Yeah, man, bring it on the camera.
Yeah. I I asked for both of these for Christmas. So the first one is Kurt Angle. I don't know how well you could see that,
Yes, the
but
entrance greats.
well, yeah, and you could see
Yeah.
it's even got him with the hair on, and so it's him
Yes.
before he was bald. So that's how rare this one is.
Yes.
And then the other one, this one is really cool. It's the Undertaker, the Ministry of Darkness version of him.
Yes.
And
I have that right now.
yeah.
Yes.
I
Man,
actually
I was
have
looking for that one forever, man.
I actually have another one of these, I believe, but that one is unpackaged. So my nephews play with that one if they play with any of them,
Gotcha.
but they are not allowed to touch those.
Yeah, man, those are great figures. Honestly, I've been waiting for them to do a different version of Kurt Angle from that era. You know, still with him with the hair, but just an updated Elite or Ultimate. You know, that I can pose around. And that Taker, I had it. I was looking for it for years, man, because growing up, I remember my earliest memories are playing the old school Nintendo 64 games.
Oh, what games did you have?
Yes. So of course my brother was older, so those were his games, but he let me play with them, right? But
Right.
wrestling wise, we had WrestleMania 2000. We had No Mercy. Our next door neighbor had in WCW NWO Revenge. And so we would always go over his house to play that game, and then he would go over ours to play the WWF games.
That was the game I had, was WCW NWO Revenge. I don't remember ever having the WWF games, but I remember having the WCW NWO Revenge games, and that game was really great. My only gripe with the game was once you drop the weapon, it just
they just vanished. They
vanished.
just vanished.
It was weird. So I always whenever I would play that game, and I played that game when I was a kid, and then briefly in the mid 2000s we had the Nintendo 64, and I was able to hook it up to a TV in the basement. So I would go to the basement and I'd play it down there. So I was able to hook it up and everything, and and I would play it, and every time I would play it, I would always make sure that if I'm going to use the weapon, like if I want to use a weapon, you pick Sting or you pick La Parka, because Sting always had the bat,
Yes.
La Parka had the chair, and
Yes.
yeah. So I always had those two wrestlers, and and then I would make my own characters. And I went through a phase where I don't know if you remember VH1 having that whole celebrity reality stuff.
Yes,
Okay,
I do.
yeah. Well, I used to make the wrestlers on WCW NWO Revenge, and I used to give them the names of the contestants on those shows. So like, I had like six pack. I had like 12 gauge. I had like a wrestler named Chance, a wrestler named Real, because those were
Yeah.
character, those were contestant names. I mean,
Yes.
I was a, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, man. There was for me, most of my memories of Monday Night Wars were through those games, but when I really started watching wrestling for myself, when I can really have memories of watching things, it starts around 2002, but 2004 onwards is when I really became a super fan.
see,
Because before then, it was my dad was a big fan, my brother was a big fan. My brother stopped watching. My dad kind of watched, but he got back into it because I was a really big fan. And like from '04 onwards, man, you know.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I remember watching in like '98, '99 when he had Gangrel, Val Venus, and Too Cool and all
Yes.
that. My mind gets a little fuzzy from like the year 2000 up until the year 2002 and the later year
Mm-hmm.
2002. I don't much remember much about that,
Right.
and I don't know why. It kind of just
No, I feel you. For me, it's let's say for us, for in my context, let's say I started year 2000, remembering things, watching things, like having those in my memory. 2001, I don't know what was going on with young Brandon there, but either I
with
wasn't
who?
watching or I don't remember anything.
Right.
2002 though, I remember Lesnar superplexing Big Show. I remember Rock versus Hogan, stuff like that. 2003 is where I kind of stopped watching a little bit, but for some reason I started tuning back in 2004, and Thugonomics Cena is what got me hooked back into wrestling.
I remember 2003, late 2002, early 2000, or into 2003,
Mm-hmm.
because they had some of my favorite, and I'm a huge, we can get into this too if you'd like, but I'm a huge women's wrestling fan. And I know how that
Mm-hmm.
sounds. I know how that sounds. You
No,
like
you're
the mud
good.
wrestling and all that? No, no, no. No, I mean, no, I don't like the mud wrestling or any of that stuff. I don't like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna be honest, I never liked the bra and panties, and I never liked the bra and panties matches. I
yeah.
never really cared for the pudding matches or the mud matches or the water
Yeah.
matches or any of that.
See,
I
you
always,
were you were a good, upstanding young boy because whenever I was a kid, man, I can't lie to you that I know I shouldn't be watching it, but oh man, this is on, like But
no, hey, I'm still a good upstanding young man. Don't get it twisted.
yeah,
But I mean, I'm not even drinking beer. I'm drinking pop.
yeah, man, good cold
No, no,
Pepsi,
no.
man, that'll do you right.
I do drink beer for the record. I drank one last night.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, no, no. So I was always like a fan of like the Trish Stratus versus Victoria
yes,
matches, the Trish Stratus
yes,
versus Jazz matches. Not so much Trish and
yes.
Lita. I never liked that. No, that.
Really,
Yeah, I was never. I was big into the
really,
Trish Victoria slash Trish Jazz feuds. Those were my favorites.
and those are underrated too, by the
Oh,
way.
absolutely. Facts.
Very
Yes,
underrated.
thank you. Somebody who agreed,
Yes,
or Trish and Molly Holly. Again, underrated.
yes.
I think she had a lot more matches with Molly Holly than she did anybody else, honestly.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I don't get why WWE praises they praise Trish and Lita to the max,
Right.
as far as the women's revolution, has gone, but Victoria has been an unsung hero, Jazz. They
Yeah.
finally started bringing Molly Holly back into like, oh, Molly Holly's one of the greats, but for years, I don't get why. I mean, I get why when they were not interested really in the women other than their looks,
Right.
but why in the women's revolution, since like like 2015,
Hmm.
have they de-emphasized those other women? I don't get that,
Right.
but
I don't get why they've been, shunning Victoria or Jazz either. I mean, they deserve
yeah,
their props too. I would say they're
most definitely.
flowers, but I don't want to be,
Yeah, no, that's what I would say too.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
they deserve their flowers too. Uh,
exactly.
what do you? Okay, so here's one topic I want to get into. I saw this. I saw. Do you listen to Bruce Pritchard's podcast by chance? There's something to wrestle with.
I'm not a regular listener. I've heard a few episodes though.
Okay. Have you heard the episode where he's talking about WrestleMania 19?
Yes.
Okay, and he's talking about the Booker T Triple H promo. Did you hear about that? Did you hear Bruce kind
I
of?
not Bruce is part of it, but you can go ahead and go into it because I'm very familiar with that
Okay, Bruce.
feud.
Okay, so you know the promo. Obviously, I'm going to talk
Oh
about
yeah, most
Bruce when he
definitely.
said that people like you, they don't get.
Yes.
Okay, people.
Yes.
Bruce sort of argued that he wasn't talking about color. He that's not what the intention was. This is what Bruce Pritchard said. Bruce Pritchard said
Yes.
it wasn't intended to be about race or color. It was
Yeah.
intended to be you people, meaning WCW.
Oh, come on
So
now. Bruce, man, I have respect for Bruce. I have respect for pretty much anybody who's, put dues in the wrestling business.
oh sure.
Some more than others. You said what?
Oh, I said oh sure, I agree.
Oh yeah, yeah, most definitely. Sorry about that. But like Bruce can be so full of crap sometimes, man. Like it's just
Sometimes,
oh yeah. A
sometimes.
majority of the time, sometimes his spin is like, okay, I can tolerate it, but in that instance, you can't say that he was just talking about WCW when they made an emphasis over like his background, like his criminal background as well.
And, and
You
they
know?
they said your nappy hair.
Yes, yes.
That's not WCW at that point.
It
That's
definitely isn't
color. That's
WCW, man.
race. That's
Exactly, and it's. I don't think that they should have brought it in
no,
at all,
and to
but
Bruce's
like if they did bring it in, why didn't Booker go over?
right, right. Booker should have won. And to Bruce's credit,
Yes,
he did say he didn't care for the promo. He didn't like it. He
yeah,
tried to defend it as best he could with the WCW thing. He did, but he did say, for the record, I thought it was wrong. I didn't think it should have been said. But
right,
but it was said. This is what it was intended, and blah 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 blah. So
yeah,
I mean, I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts. I listen to Bruce's
hmm
podcast. I listen to Jim Cornette's podcast, and I had to call him out.
yes,
I actually had to call him out. Well, I didn't have to, but I did. I
yeah,
called him
yeah.
out because he said because he was reviewing Ultimate Warrior's A&E documentary, which I have strong opinions about. Hold on, we'll
We
get
can
there.
talk about
We'll
that too.
get there. We'll get there. There's no time limits on this podcast, thank God. So,
Yeah, exactly, bro.
at least not for me. But
Yeah, no, I'm good tonight too, bro.
cool, cool. So Jim Cornette said that when he went to the Hall of Fame in 2014, when Warrior went in, Jim was there
hmm
apparently. Jim said he was there, and he said that he looked at Bruce Pritchard, and
hmm
and he said, "This guy is like not doing well." And I had to call bullshit on that because Bruce was not in the WWE in 2014. He was on the outs with them. I think he was with TNA in 2014. I
Mm.
could be wrong on that. Don't hold me
I
to
think
it.
he was. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I can't remember exactly, but that does sound about right.
Mhm. Okay. Or else he had just left TNA and was doing other stuff.
hmm
But I might. No, no, and for the record, I'm a Jim Cornette fan when it comes to his podcasts. When
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
when he's speaking about wrestling, uh, he is like one of the smartest people I've ever heard
Yes, he
talk.
is. He's
He's
brilliant,
very
man.
knowledgeable and he's actually entertaining when he tells stories. But
Yes, he is.
and we don't have to get into this if you don't want to.
I'm
I-
cool with it, man.
I'm not a fan of his
It's up to
politics.
you.
I'm not a fan of his politics. I don't really like to get into politics much, but I'm just not.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
he's way too left. I don't know if you would agree with that or not, but
I mean, he's on the extreme of everything that
yes,
he is. That's him. So it honestly surprised me, given, and this is probably a stereotype, but it surprised me when I started listening to Jim Cornette how far left he actually was.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, especially for like a lot of people who were deeply involved in like Southern wrestling and everything like that in the territories. I
And,
wouldn't expect them to be far left.
right, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a liberal, but I
Mm-hmm.
do have liberal friends, and I can respect the differences of opinion. I don't know if you're liberal
Yes.
or not. I don't really care.
You know, it depending on what we talk about, you would think I'm like, you know,
One way,
so,
yeah.
but yes.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I believe. I mean, I'm a conservative, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
so far conservative that I can just disagree with everything that. I'm not like Jim
Yes.
Cornette.
Yes.
I'm
I know
not.
exactly what you're
I'm not
saying.
extreme right, and he's
Yes.
yeah, and like he's
But
to the point where if you like this, you and it's just like
yes,
I
that's how
mean,
he is.
yeah, and yeah, I just don't agree with that. I'm sorry. If you like this, hey, great for you. Enjoy what you
Mm-hmm.
love. Enjoy what you
Yes.
love. I don't personally care for some of the hard. I don't care for like the CZWs of the world. I don't care for that
Yes.
stuff. I don't care to watch somebody take a broken glass and jab it in somebody's face, eye, mouth. I don't care to take a. I don't care to watch somebody take a pizza cutter and just go
Oh
across the
no.
skull or across the mouth. I don't.
It's excessive. And okay, we could both of us are on the same page that it's excessive. But CCW isn't drawing like packed out arenas. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
no,
Like,
no, it's
it's
not.
not drawing that much money. It has a niche audience. So it's like, why are you doing this? You know, unless you're
Right.
just a
It's,
sadist, you know, like,
they're not, and most of the time, I've noticed that they're not even in buildings; they're outdoors,
yes,
grass.
yes,
I mean, I mean,
yeah, man.
yeah, like let's like Nick Gage. I mean, when he,
Oh
I don't know if you ever
goodness,
saw that
yes,
that Dark Side of the Ring documentary. He's
yes, I
doing the
did. I watched a good
documentary.
amount of it, man.
He's doing the documentary thing, and he is bleeding from the armpit, and they're outdoors in the middle of nowhere, and he bragged about it. He bragged
Yeah,
about being in the middle of nowhere. And I've covered this topic a lot on this podcast already with
yes,
other guests. So I don't want to get too much into it. If you want to hear my honest opinions, just go click on one of those videos. But I will say I don't think that Nick Gage is mentally there all the way.
you can't be.
No.
You cannot be involved in that wrestling scene, enjoy what you're doing, and be all that mentally there. You know,
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
impossible. I
Exactly.
mean, I think he even acknowledged it, like on the documentary. He said you got to be a little like effed up in the head or something like that. He
Right, right.
said,
We can curse on the
yeah.
podcast, by the way. There's no like verbal limits. Or
Okay, cool.
we could say we could swear. I don't really. It's not like these videos are gonna whatever. If
Yeah,
you
you're
do has a
good, man.
problem with it, then they can whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I tell my guests when they come on the show, this is not a professional podcast. We go by the seat. We go as we go. You know,
Hey,
as
man, but
many
that's where good, like, authentic conversations can come from, man.
facts. I mean, this is an authentic conversation right now. I'm just talking to you like I would talk to any of my normal friends. Not that you're not normal, but I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
no, I know exactly what you mean.
mm-hmm. Like a personal friend. Like
Yeah,
yeah. So let's get into that Ultimate Warrior documentary. I believe I discussed my issues with it. I will say it here because it needs to be
yes.
said. WWE was way too easy on it. They went way too soft in
Mm.
the documentary. They, I'm sorry. I feel like they should have really, they really should have gone hard on the whole racist comment thing
Mm-hmm.
and the queer thing. Because I know I said earlier that I'm a conservative, but hey, if you're gay, you're gay. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care what your sexual
Mm-hmm.
preference is. I don't care about any of that. Hey, you want to get married? Great, have at it. Get married. Love who you love. Like what you like. and that's just how I feel. And but then at the same time, I'm also of the opinion: don't shove it in people's face. Don't. I mean, if you're gay, hey, you're gay, but don't be like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I'm so gay. I mean, I don't really need to know you're gay. I don't need to know what you are. I just need
Yes.
to know that you're a good person. If you're a good person,
Yes.
if you're nice to me, I'm nice to you.
Big facts. And
Yeah,
if you don't mind me just adding a little bit to that,
go ahead.
like I'm with you. Like I think people should have the ability to marry who they want to, love who they want to without persecution. But
Right.
on to add on top of what you're saying, and I know we're talking about wrestling, but don't be the type of person that is a virtue signaler on Twitter trying to force celebrities into putting stuff into their bios. And you know what I'm talking about, right? The whole Gina Carano situation.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about now. Yeah, they
yeah,
just
yeah.
completely
Like,
blackballed her because she has
yeah,
a
it's like,
name the
look,
same way as Hollywood. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, man, everybody has different opinions. There's
they
nothing wrong with us having different opinions as long as we as people can come together. You know, like I'm
I
cool with
don't know if
that.
you know this. They tried to do that to Chris Pratt too. By the way, I don't know
Oh
if you
yeah,
heard about
yeah.
that.
Yes, I
And,
did, I
and, and
did.
then like his fellow actors who are probably also liberal, they came to his defense and told him, "Hey, leave him alone.
Yeah,
Leave the dude
like,
alone."
look, is
So
he?
respect to
He's
them.
not doing
Respect to them
anything.
because
Exactly, because you can't ask for respect in certain areas when you're not willing to give it yourself. You know,
exactly,
it
exactly.
just doesn't add up. I feel like when people do that from whatever side that they're on, it kind of delegitimizes. I don't even know if that's a word, but their argument. You know what I'm saying? It discredits
It,
them.
I
So
think the word is illegitimizes, not
yes, yes,
illegitimize.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now,
Yes.
before we go any further, I'm going to just put this out there so you understand. Um, I have special needs. I have several disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
I have cerebral palsy. I have partial deafness, and among other things that I don't care to get into in
Mm-hmm.
a second. But I have several special needs, and shout out to my parents, my mom and dad, who are just in the other room.
Yeah.
They raised me to not let those disabilities define me, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
any sense. They raised me
Yes.
that yeah, you have these issues, but you're not completely helpless. You can
Yes.
still walk, you can still talk, you can still move normally. Uh, so, I don't use. If I ever mention my disability, I don't really like to refer to them as disabilities. I call
Mm-hmm.
them special needs because
Yes.
they're what make me special.
Yes.
So when people say, "Oh, you're so special," yeah, thank you. I am. You're right. I am
Yeah,
special.
man.
Um, and my older sister was always like that with me too. She always treated me like the younger brother. So
Mm-hmm.
and
That's really good though, bro.
yeah, my family's really cool. I love my family to death. I mean, my family's very supportive of me. My older sister actually, the really cool thing is my sister lives fairly close by, so I get to see my
Mm-hmm.
sister normally, and I get to see my nephews at least once a week because we
Yes.
babysit them every Sunday. But I don't think we're gonna get to see them this weekend because they went camping with their dad. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, my sister and her husband and their kids, they live in our neighborhood. So
That's good,
you
man.
just walk right over there. I mean, and I do. So that's really cool. So shout out to them. But yeah, no, back to the Warrior. Sorry to get all personal, but
No, you're
uh,
good, man. No, I don't mind it at all. Like, it's like really what you're saying is you need a good community, you need a good
yes,
support system. Thankfully, you have that because had you not, those things that you deal with, your special needs, probably would have been magnified by the fact that you did not have that support. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
and
no,
and and,
no need to
and
apologize, bro.
yeah, and my parents. I mean, I got lucky because like my dad could have said, "Oh, my son's gonna have special needs." Nah, I'm out. I'm not dealing with a special needs kid, and he never did that.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do that at all. And to this day, my parents are still married. So there you.
Yeah.
Uh, And and my sister could have said, "Oh, my brother has special needs. He's going to take all the attention from me, and I don't like that, and I'm going to resent him." And she's quite the opposite.
Mm,
She's my best friend. So, and she's
yeah,
married to her best friend. So, I got two best friends that way, and then I got
yeah.
two more with my nephews. So, through her, I gained three new best friends. So, anyway, back to Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, I just think that they went too light on that subject, and I understand why because it was a WWE production,
Hmm.
but uh, I
Oh, they're
just
gonna. Dark Side is gonna lambast
oh,
that man
and then, but
tonight.
see,
Like,
but then so I say A&E documentary went way too easy on him. I feel like the
mhm.
Dark Side of the Ring is going to go too hard on him.
They are.
Yeah,
They are.
because they got people that don't, and I don't, I disagree with doing this. They have people that don't like him as the talking heads. I don't agree with that.
Mm.
I think you have to have it kind of middle of the
You
road
have to have that balance.
because they
You have to tell the good and the bad, but you can't, like you said, you don't want to water down the bad, because I enjoy the documentary, don't get me wrong,
oh I did
but when
too.
they got to that part, they only covered as much as they needed to address it. But they didn't really spend that much time on it.
And I
But you
think
also think about it, Dana works for WWE.
right,
Now
right,
they're on good terms with WWE. They have a whole award based off of him.
right,
So they don't want to spend too much time on it, but they don't also want to not cover it at all.
right, and yeah, and but then you're gonna get the dark side, and they're gonna go way too much into detail. They're gonna go way
Yes.
too hard on it, and that's also not good. I feel like.
Hmm.
Um.
Exactly. If
So
you can tell the good and the bad with Chris Benoit, you can tell the good and the bad with Ultimate Warrior.
yeah, but then they did this, but they did the same thing. They pretty much buried Randy Savage too on the A&E documentary. That one
Now they
was
did do
just
that with Randy Savage.
that
Yes,
was
they
that.
did.
See, that was bullshit. That
Yeah,
one that episode was bullshit. I'm sorry, but
yeah.
they were like Randy was like, and they didn't really focus on his career, which is just like what the fuck? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're
Mm-hmm.
watching. We want to see his career accomplishments. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I mean, we saw. If you saw the Dark Side of the Ring episode of Macho Man, you didn't need to watch that one, the A&E, because it was basically cut and paste.
Yeah, I actually prefer the A&E one though, because the benefit that the A&E ones have is like an hour and a half or like 2 hours, depending on who they're covering.
Right.
Most of those Dark Side of the Ring, well, you know it in the name, the Dark Side of the Ring. So they're gonna like focus on most of the negative stuff
Mm-hmm.
to show that gritty side, and they only have what, an hour, unless they do a 2-part special.
But yeah. Yeah.
So
So
that's the downside of it, I think. But I liked having both, because now I might just not be remembering, the Dark Side of the Ring Macho Man one. I remember them focusing on how like his relationship was with Elizabeth.
mm-hmm.
You know, now A&E did that too, but you got his whole career, and they talked about the after Elizabeth stuff too. Like his steroid use and his
Yeah.
health, and
Yeah.
like I appreciated having that. So I guess it just kind of depends on what you're looking for,
Hmm?
and not having all of that base your entire history, But I guess it just depends. Some episodes, they're going to cover better than others.
Exactly. Okay, so since we're
Guess
talking
so.
about Dark Side of the Ring, what is your favorite episode of that series?
Ooh,
Uh,
honestly, my favorite episode, they've done really good. I would say mine, if I just had to shoot one off the top of my head.
yeah.
You said favorite.
Yeah, I didn't mean to go by seasons too.
Just
Favorite
one.
episode of the season, I
Okay, I
guess.
got you. Yeah, yeah. Well, I have three favorites.
Okay.
The New Jack episode, without a doubt. That one was.
That one was awesome. That one.
Yeah,
That
that
was one
one
of
was
my favorite.
great.
That one's probably my favorite from season two. Yeah, my
Oh
favorite from
yeah, yeah.
season one. Actually, for season two, it comes down to New Jack and the brawl for all. Because that
Oh
one
yeah,
was
that
good
one was
too.
really good.
So
That one was really good.
those are my top two for season two. Don't make me pick between them. For season one, my favorite was probably the Montreal Screwjob. I don't know why. I just like that. I don't know
I
why.
enjoy hearing about the Montreal screw job.
I don't
no
know.
matter who tells it.
Right, and I don't know why, but I just every time somebody like I just like listening to people talk about the Montreal screw job because there's so much that went
Yes.
into that. There's so much that went into
Exactly.
that. And I don't know if I've given my opinions on this or not on the podcast, so I'll just do it right here. Brett was wrong in that whole situation. I say Brett was wrong because and people say that Sean had a massive ego, and he did. Let's be real.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. But Brett, when I hear him say stuff like, "Well, Sean he just didn't want to wrestle me, so he faked a leg injury." That I mean, come on, man. That's my best Brett impression.
Yeah.
When you say stuff like that, you sound arrogant. You just didn't want to wrestle me, so he faked an injury, bro. Really?
Yeah.
Really? I don't think
You
so.
know,
But I
I
could be
guess
wrong.
now I do remember him, losing his smile, and then, I've heard so many different views of it. I truly believe that Sean did not want to lose to Brett, but I also know that Brett didn't want to put Sean over at that point either.
Exactly. It was, I don't want to lose to this guy, and I don't want to lose to this guy. And Vince is caught in the
Mm-hmm.
middle. Because now Vince has to make a decision. Okay, this guy doesn't want to lose, and this guy doesn't want to lose. And one of these guys has to lose, and I don't know who it's going to be yet. And that was
Yeah.
that. And
Right.
and Vince made a decision. And Vince went with Brett, obviously. But see, Brett was told something by Vince. He was like, Vince told him, okay, we'll let you win, and then we'll let you forfeit. So Vince kind of lied. But at the same time,
Yeah.
if Vince wants you to lose the title, you lose the title. That is your boss. This is where I am at with this, okay? And I guess I can give my
Mm-hmm.
own personal story after I say this piece, because I do have a little bit of history of this. But the boss, well, not really. Well, I'll say it anyway. Uh, but Vince wanted Brett to lose, and Brett said no. Your boss wants you to do something, you do it. You don't tell them no.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Brett had that creative control in his claws. And if you think for a second that was the only time he had that, I almost guarantee that's a lie. He's had it before. So real quick, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
I'll just tell my. So I worked at
Yeah,
Sprouts.
go ahead, man.
Yeah, I worked at Sprouts for a couple of years, and they asked me one day to go get cards, and this was near the end of my shift. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, cool, no problem, right? And so I went and I got cards, and I was doing a lot. I was getting a lot of them, right? Just like
Mm-hmm.
bringing them like 6 at a time or something like that. So quite a bit of cards,
Mm-hmm.
and I was struck after I got done. You got to push and pull, so it's work.
Yes.
1 second. What, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want something?
Where are you going?
Probably Black Eyed Peas.
Black Eyed Pea? Not from Black Eyed Pea. Bring me back McDonald's or something.
You could walk.
By the way, say hello because you're on the podcast now, visually.
Hi!
You're not in the. You want to come say?
Hey.
No.
Oh.
Hi, I'm shy on camera.
No, you're not. She says she's shy. She's shy on camera. She has her own YouTube channel.
Hi!
Shout out to the crafty
Hey!
author.
How
Go
are
follow her on
you?
YouTube.
Doing well. How are you?
Good.
This is my friend Brandon.
Hi, Brandon. Oh, he has the same name as your dad.
I just told him that.
Must be a good
Hey.
guy. Awesome.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Yeah. This is my mom. The one I was telling you about with the strong family. This is her.
Aw.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but amazing things about you guys.
Aw. Well, thanks. That's awesome. That makes me feel good. I'm surprised. I beat him every day. No, just
Yeah.
Only on days that end in the letter Y.
right?
Yeah.
All right. It was good meeting you, Brandon. You guys take
It's good
care.
meeting you too.
See you later.
Bye, Mama.
you,
Love
too.
you.
I'm going to leave the door open for
That's
you.
cool. That's cool. Thank you. So yeah, that was my mom. So like I said, we're gonna fly by the seat of our pants on the podcast. I wasn't
Yeah.
planned. Unplanned things happen. Like I said, she's not shy on camera, even though she said she was. She's got her
Yeah.
own YouTube channel. go subscribe to the Crafty Author on YouTube if you want to learn how to like quilt and stuff like that. That's
Ooh,
her.
that's dope, man.
She's got quite a following. She's got like over 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. So she's
What?
yeah. So
dude, I gotta look her up, man.
yeah, for sure. It's like a cartoon version of hers. So anyway,
that's amazing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So anyway, back to my story. So yeah, I worked at Sprouts and I had to go get carts. And when I got done, because I was pushing and pulling 6 at a time, I had trouble breathing and I couldn't stop coughing. Okay, and so I get in the car, and my mom, she saw that because she picked me up from work because I don't drive. I don't have my license because of my special needs. That's one of the things I don't do. And I get by on that pretty easily. But
yeah, of course, man.
So she picked me up and she saw me and I was like, and my mom was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And this was pre-COVID, by the way. This was like 2018. So.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I was just, I'm heavily breathing and. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I had to get carts and I pulled too many or pushed and pulled too many. I overestimated my strength and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. She goes, oh, okay. Well, next time they ask you to go get carts, you should ask them for help. Right? Right? Ask for help. Don't, now, so I remember doing this. I went to work the next time. I can't say next day because it wasn't the next day. It was like the next week. And because I never worked like every single day. I worked my schedule was Monday was only 2 days a week. So it was like Mondays and then Thursdays and then Tuesdays and Thursdays. Actually, no, it started on Mondays and Saturdays. And then it went to Tuesdays and Thursdays, or the Mondays and Thursdays, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah, my schedule got shifted all. I can't work full time.
Yeah,
another part of my thing is I can't work full time. So this is perfect for me right here. Hopefully, I can start making money off this channel soon. But anyway,
thanks, bro.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I went to work and they're like, Christian, come here. Yeah. Hey, we need you to get carts. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. Hey, hey, if I need to go get carts, I'm happy to do so. And it's, I remember verbatim saying this. If you need me to get carts, hey, I'm happy to do so. But my mom told me to ask you guys that if I need to get carts, to ask you guys for help. And they're like, this was their words, like word for word verbatim. Their words. Well, if you can't do your job, you shouldn't be here. Now, I never said I can't get carts, right?
Yeah.
I never said, hey, I can't do that. I never said that. I said, I just need to get help.
Yeah.
If you can't do your job, you shouldn't be
here. I mean, because usually, don't they at least have 2 people pulling carts at a time?
No, they usually have one.
You split the workload
when I was there, they have 2 people designated for that job, but they only have like one at a time out there. Because one guy's out there, and then the other guy would be in the building cleaning up or bagging groceries. Which, by the way, this is very important. When I was hired by Sprouts in 2014, my job was actually supposed to just bag groceries. I was not to go outside. I was not to go anywhere else. Just stay up front and bag food, right? And it was cool. I liked that job because I could talk to people and all that stuff. I'm a very talkative person. I talk all the time. I'm very personable, I guess you could say. I'm very social. Yeah. And again, I got that from my parents, so shout out to them. So that was my job, right? And so they told me if you can't do your job, you can't, maybe you shouldn't be here anymore, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right. So I went to the bathroom for a split second, and I decided, hey, I'm just going to call Mom, tell her what I did. And I did. And she hung up the phone. She rushed over to the store, and she came up to the front desk, and she's like, I'd like to speak to your manager, please.
Yes.
And I would like my son to come in to speak with me as well. And they're like, okay, well, who's your son? Well, Christian. Okay, so they call me up to the front.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Seibel to the front, please. Christian Seibel to the front, whatever. Or Christian to the front, not Seibel, but Christian to the front, please. Whatever.
Yeah.
And so I came up to the front, I'm like, "Oh, hi, Mom. What are you doing here?" She's like, "We're going to talk to your bosses." I'm like, "Oh, whoa, okay, well, whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
cool." And so we called the bosses in. We went to the office, and my my mom tells them, when he was hired on this job 4 years ago, or almost 4 years ago, I worked there for three
Yeah.
years, 9 months, so
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit. When he was hired here 3 years ago, he was only hired here to bag groceries, and that was it. He was never supposed to
Mm-hmm.
do anything else, just bag
Yeah.
groceries. And they look at my mom dead in the face with eye contact. They tell her, even if that was written down, we would not have honored it. Yeah,
What kind of managers are those, man?
pretty shitty managers, and they're pretty shitty.
Yeah.
Well, no, one of them was actually pretty nice. The other guy was a shitty person. And then I mentioned my special needs. He goes, well, whoop de fucking do, or whoop de do. My brother has special needs too. Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, whatever. So whatever. So my mom's like, huh. After she heard that, she's like, huh. Okay. Well, guess we're gonna call it quits. So I call that me getting fired / me quitting.
Yeah.
And then it was funny because that night I'm like, oh no, I just lost my job. I just got fired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in deep doo doo with my dad now. Like I thought my dad was gonna be so mad, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He comes into the house and he comes into the house. He's like, he doesn't say. And I'll tell you another story like this in a second. And then we'll get
Yeah.
back to wrestling. I promise. I promise. But he just comes up to me. He just gives me this big hug, and he goes, "I'm proud of you, Chris." And I'm like, "Wow." So I'm not in trouble. Sweet.
Yeah. I mean, but it's one of those situations where it's like management. I mean, you would think that in that situation, I mean, I don't know what type of like setup it is, whether or was it Sprouts, but like they can get themselves in hot water for not honoring stuff like that.
Oh, we filed a lawsuit.
It's like a
We filed a
condition.
lawsuit.
You know what I'm saying?
We filed a lawsuit, but we ended up dropping it. So
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, because
and then the other personal story is, and I'm gonna make this one as quickly as I can, make this one as quick as I can.
oh, you're straight, man.
Okay. There was a kid in middle. I was in 6th grade when this happened. There was a kid in middle. My sister was in 8th grade,
Mhm.
and there was a kid in middle school, and his name was Chris Boma, and he's like a druggie now. Anyway, yeah, he is. He's a druggie. He's um, he he kept hitting on my sister, right? And my sister would always
Mm.
be nice and be like, "I'm not interested, but thank you," and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
to me, the kid would always come up to me and say, "I'm gonna bang your sister," and make all of these just inappropriate comments, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
told him to stop. She told him to stop. The teachers told him to stop. The principals told him to stop. My parents, his parents, everybody told him to stop, and he wouldn't stop. Right?
Mhm.
Now, my dad always told me, hey, never throw the first punch. Or if you're going to, or never throw the first, no, never throw punches first. Speak to them. And if they don't listen to you, go to a teacher, go to a principal, whatever. If they don't listen to
Mhm.
them, then it's all bets are off. Right?
Yeah.
So go up the ladder, and then in desperate times, call for desperate measures, right? So
Exactly,
I
man.
remember it was just me and him in the hallway, and he was making these comments about Ashley,
Mhm.
sister again. Her name is Ashley, and yeah, I had enough. And like, dude, you need to stop talking about my sister like that. And he goes, "What the fuck are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do when I bang your sister? Just make more." So I finally had enough. So I had one of those roller backpacks,
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
you can
I
roll
know.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
Uh-huh.
took the backpack, I turned it upside down, and I smacked him as hard as I could with the backpack, and the wheels
Yeah.
hit him. And so I hit him
Ooh.
with the backpack, and that was
Uh-huh.
part one of the fight. And then I kind of dropped the backpack, and I just started pounding on the fucking kid because he was pissing me off. So I was just like,
Yeah.
bam, 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 right? Actually, I don't think it was quite that physical, but I just like beat him.
Yeah.
But like but the way that the lockers were lined up, they were like rows. So like I was beating him up and down the rows. So
Dang.
yeah. And all he got was like a scratch on me, whatever. But finally, a teacher comes out. And this must have been like the world's quietest fight because she comes out. She's like, "What are you boys doing?" And he goes, "Yeah." And this kid, his fucking response: "We're fighting." Why? Why? Just why? Why are you telling the teacher that we're fighting? You fucking dumbass. Unless you're just trying to get out of this ass whooping, which I don't blame you at that point. But come on, man. And this was like what 2005, 2006, 2000. This was 2004, 2005 before cell phones really took off, right?
Yeah.
And so then we get sent to the fucking principal's office, and they tell me, "Oh, Christian, you're going to be suspended for 5 days." I'm like, and so in my mind, I'm thinking, "Oh shit, I'm dead. A 5-day suspension? Oh, my parents are going to fucking murder me." What my mom said about beating me every day, oh, that was going to be real life in my head, right? So I'm like, oh shit. So they call my dad, right? And I didn't know this until he told me years later. But they called my dad, and they're like, "Yeah, we had," because they didn't have speaker. So I was in the other room waiting while she's on the phone, and I can't hear what my dad's saying. I can't really hear what anybody's saying because the door's closed. But this is what my dad told me was said. So they tell him, "We have your son in here," and he's like, "Yeah, okay. Well, what did he do?" "Well, we haven't been here for fighting." My dad's like, "Did he win?" Right? Now, again, I can't hear this. So as far as I know, I'm a dead man walking. I'm done.
Yeah.
So I can't hear anything my dad's saying, right? So she's like, the principal's like, "What? Did my kid win? Or do you need me to go to a hospital and that's why you're calling me to pick him up?" And the teachers are like, "We don't really count winners and losers in these fights, but son, because he's being suspended for 5 days." I was like, yeah. That's whatever. Did he win, or do I need to go to the hospital? She's like, "You need to come get your son, right?" So my dad comes into the freaking. I could see him walking in, and he's got this look on his face like he's gonna murder somebody. He just looks so pissed, right? So I'm like, oh god, I'm about to ready to cry, right?
Yeah.
So he comes to the office, signs me out, whatever. "Hi, Dad. Let's go. Let's fucking go, right?" He didn't say fucking go, but let's go, right? We're walking out, and my legs are trembling. I'm about on the verge of tears. I'm like, this is my last time here. I'm out.
Yeah.
Done. I lived a short life, whatever. So, anyways, we get in the car, and he does this thing where whenever he was like mad at somebody, he would turn down the car radio so he could.
So you could hear everything that he was about to say.
So he turns down the radio, and I fucking lose it. I'm done. I'm bawling my eyes out. Right? My dad looks at me. He goes, "So, Chris, here's the deal. I'm very proud of you. You are not in any trouble. And I'm going to take you to Grandpa's work." My grandpa owned his own shirt company. Not shirt company, but he owned his own shirt printing place.
Yes.
So he would he would print shirts for the local companies. So yeah. So he was his own boss, and he never. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. So he's like, "So I'm going to take you to Grandpa's shop. You can hang out there, eat as much candy and cookies and Coke as you want, or drink as much Coke, not eat Coke."
Yeah.
Coke. I don't do Coke either, but no. Pepsi. Sorry, bad joke. But no. So
hey, man, just like CM Punk, right?
Except I'm definitely not straight edge. I've smoked weed and I've been drunk. Hell, matter of fact, last Friday night I got drunk. So whatever. I got drunk with my sister. We went to this bar, PCL, and got like a bucket of Coronas, and then we just went to her house and we drank even more. But he goes, I'm gonna take you to your grandpa's. You can do whatever you want over there, play on the computer, whatever, and you're not
Yeah,
in any
yeah.
trouble. He's like, so stop crying, collect yourself. And I'm just so freaking. I'm like, oh my god, I live
That's
another
good.
day. I live
Yeah.
another day, and
But
my
he knew you
mom.
were sticking up for your sister, though.
Right,
So
right. That was the important part. That's what the important part was. It wasn't just beating the shit out of somebody for the sake of beating the shit out of them. It was,
yeah.
hey, I told you. You've been told by everybody. Knock it off.
Hmm.
And knock it off.
Yeah.
Time for you to fucking learn.
Did that kid say anything else to your sister after then?
Not that I can recall. No.
Say, hey, he learned his lesson.
Yeah. But I get home that night, and my mom came up to me. She goes, I am so proud of you. Gave me a big hug and a kiss. And my sister
Yeah.
came up, and she goes, thanks, bro. And gives me a big hug.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, that night, I was the family. Well, see, what I thought was going to be my fucking deathbed that night,
Yeah.
I'm the family hero. So I'm like,
Hey,
let's
man,
go.
you definitely you live to fight another day, man.
Exactly. So anyway, enough personal stories for now, I guess. Let's get back on track. I know it's kind of the Seibelmania podcast, but, so, uh, what were we going to talk? We talked about the Warrior. We talked about the Dark Side of the Ring.
Mhm.
I think I said something. I had like thoughts on something.
Well, I know we were talking. Talking about the A&E documentary. Then we were talking about like the bias between the two,
Oh yeah,
and then
yeah,
you were talking about which one was your favorite. And we spoke about New Jack.
yeah. And we spoke
The
about.
other one I really loved was the Benoit one.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And I mentioned that my favorites were the New Jack and the Brawl for All. The Brawl for All
Yes.
story was. I thought that was a very interesting episode, but there was too much
Hmm.
Jim Cornette Russo beef.
Yes.
That didn't need to be told, in my opinion.
They wanted to have an opportunity to have that on camera, though.
Yeah, and see, I know how extreme Cornette can be. Jim is,
Hmm.
again, as a wrestling mind, genius. But
Oh, brilliant!
with his views, it's like if you don't agree with me, I don't like you. Period. You're
Yeah.
dead to me, and that's
Thank you.
wrong.
Fuck you.
That's just,
Bye.
huh? Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye. Exactly. And that's just wrong. Because, like,
Yeah.
I listen to his views on AEW, and
Yes.
okay, I'm not a huge one, but I am an AEW fan. I like AEW. I like
Hmm.
Chris Jericho. I like John
Hmm.
Moxley. Cornette
Hmm.
hates AEW.
Yes, he
Hates
does.
Moxley. Now, one thing I will agree with Cornette on, I hate Kenny Omega and I hate the Young Bucks. I don't care for those three at all.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about them. We'll get that. But
Olivier.
so you're not a fan either. Okay.
I
Sweet.
have mixed opinions about the three of them.
Mm.
And my opinions on AEW are a little mixed too. Like,
Oh yeah, mine too. Mine too.
yeah. But listening to Cornette's opinions on AEW, I have not been able to look at the show the same way since. I'll be honest with you, because it's like, wait a second, he's got a point.
Yes.
He's got a point. Yeah,
Yes.
he has a point. Like, does he? Like you said, his views are extreme, and he's a my way or the highway type of person.
Yes.
But the problems with AEW when they're being really objective and laying them out, it's like those are valid criticisms,
Exactly. Hold up just 1 second. I'm just going to move us to the kitchen. Because
man.
So we can still talk. Again, this is just a fly by the seat of the show. So, but yeah, man, Cornette and AEW. I like AEW. Hell, last year when they did the Stadium Stampede, you can't really see my face. I apologize. But
I can still see you're good.
last week when they did the Stadium Stampede, that was really good in my opinion. I like that match. I know Cornette hated it, but to me, it was entertaining.
Because he hates anything that's not traditional wrestling.
Exactly.
And he didn't like the people that were in it either. That's a big thing too.
Yeah, just give me your thoughts and opinions on AEW real quick. I will be right back. I gotta grab two things. So just one second,
of course.
man. You can continue to talk.
Okay, cool. So yeah, for AEW, man, like I remember whenever the company was announced, and I was really excited about an alternative. I didn't have really high expectations just because the roster was very thin. Other than Hangman Page, the Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody, maybe SCU, like who were the guys they were bringing in? They got Jericho, which was good, but on the same token, AEW's roster, they've slowly been building it up. They've been, promoting, Darby Allin and MJF, which
Yes.
I think they're two of the best young talents in the business today. I love both of them.
Oh,
But
Darby's a star. Darby is a bona fide star.
yes, he is, man. Like he has that it factor, and he's got a little bit of Jeff Hardy in him, a little bit of Sting, and a little bit of who's the other one I think? I mean, he has some. I mean, I guess size wise and everything like that, kind of like Finn Balor. But I see like a combination of Hardy and Sting in him,
Yeah. Okay, so hang on.
But yeah, man, Darby is a star. MJF is, but yeah, on
MJF
launch,
is
man.
like the future. I'm gonna say that right now.
Yeah,
That's
and he's
one thing
young
that Jim
too.
Cornette has right is that he is the future.
And they do seem like they're actually going to build up their stars to be stars, which is something I can give them kudos over versus WWE.
Absolutely.
WWE has all the talent in the world. WWE a lot of times they have everything at their arsenal. The best roster, talent, production values, the best minds involved. And what do they do with it? But AEW, I had low expectations. They've exceeded some, but there's some aspects where it's like, okay, when AEW is great, whenever they have like the talents that are they're building or are really bona fide, that can tell stories and the in-ring psychology is tight.
The match quality.
Whenever you have that, it's great.
Exactly.
But whenever they go indie, it's trash.
Yeah. I just gotta say real quick, I apologize to the viewers in advance. Because I will try not to do this in every single episode or any episode. I just felt like I should have moved the computer from my bedroom to the kitchen now that there's an opportunity to use it. And I apologize for leaving the camera as well. I don't like doing that either. I grabbed my charger and my mouse, so we're good to go. But just so you know, that's not going to be a regular thing where you see me off camera for long periods of time. I promise. So I apologize to the fans, and I apologize to you, our guest. That was extremely rude of me. My bad. But
I appreciate you, man. You're good.
So yeah, AEW. Yeah, when they have their pluses and their negatives.
Yes, they do.
And they do. The funny thing, Brandon, I think you'll notice this a lot on my page when you because we just became friends on Facebook. So yes. I think you'll notice this as you get to know me better. I am heavily critical of AEW, and it gets to a point where people will say, "You criticize AEW too much, but you never criticize WWE." And let me just tell you, I spent a good portion of the last podcast with Chris P.S. Martin.
Yes.
Where we blistered WWE's usage of zombies. We did blister them for that because it was well deserved. So, no, I do not just trash AEW and praise WWE.
Oh, no.
It's equal.
Honestly, no. Ever since I got to know you, you've always, when something is good and you like it, you give the kudos. But if something is not good, you don't sugarcoat it,
Exactly.
When everybody else might, sugarcoat or it wasn't that bad. No, you're fair. You don't just bash AEW. You don't just bash WWE. Whenever WWE is good, you give them their props. Whenever AEW is good, you give them their props. So I can definitely say you're good on that, man.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's no problem, man.
So
people get mad whenever you have a different opinion than they do. If they are AEW fanboys, everything that they do is the second coming of Jesus Christ. If they're if they are WWE fanboys, then it's like you can't say anything like contrary to that.
I gotta say this too. I don't know how you feel. I don't like the term fanboys. I
Mm-hmm.
hate that term. If you're a
Wait,
fan,
really?
I do. That term makes me so angry. You're a fan
That
of
is
something.
funny,
You're a
man.
fan of something. That doesn't
See,
make
it's
you a
different from being
fanboy.
a fan and then a fanboy, though.
Is there a
Because
difference?
to me, there is. Because there's a complete different connotation if you're a fan of something versus a fanboy or fangirling.
Well, I guess I understand. I guess because a fanboy or a fangirl, nothing that they're fans of is wrong in anybody's eyes, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
So, I
I
mean,
get
like,
that.
make
Then
no mistake about it. I am a WWE fan through and through. Always have
yes,
been since I was a kid. I
always
always will be.
same here, same here.
Yeah.
But even I can acknowledge when they're doing screwed up stuff, and
Oh,
when they're
yes.
bad. And I'm gonna tell you right here, right now, they are so bad right now with Raw. My uncle, he comes over every single week to watch WWE with me. And this past week, I told him, "Hey, let's skip this week." And
Yeah.
he said, "Okay, sounds good." And then I asked him a couple of days ago, "Hey, are you coming over next Monday for Raw?" And he goes, "No, we could skip next Monday too." So
Yeah.
yeah, because even he has acknowledged that it's not that great.
See? But my dad is the same, too.
Hmm.
My dad's been a fan since, the Mid-Atlantic days. Him growing up. He's a big Ric Flair fan. He's been a wrestling fan ever since he was a little kid.
Right.
Without him, I probably wouldn't be as big of a fan as I am. But
Same with me
even
and my
with
dad.
us, yeah, that's awesome, man. Because like he'll tune in, he'll turn stuff on. He watches it. Even if stuff isn't really that good, he'll watch it. It's a little casual, but we both have the understanding of we'll watch Raw, but we might have it on, but it's no urgency with Raw. Like
Right.
SmackDown, we both make time to watch SmackDown every week,
Yeah.
especially him.
Yeah. SmackDown is doing a lot. I like Roman Reigns as a heel. I know in the chat you
Yes.
see me say he needs to drop the title. Whatever.
Yeah. Hey, but
The thing that
y'all
drives me.
had a good conversation. You and Chris P. Martin on PS Martin. Boy, that was a great conversation about Roman.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because he made a good point, though. Yeah, it's okay. Honestly, I'm like I'm still enjoying his heel run. I'm still enjoying him with the title. They can still get some mileage out of it. But the biggest point that he made is, have they built anybody up for him to lose it to?
No.
And that's the key.
Right. So I appreciate that. And I was going to say something.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my train of thought.
Was it about you saying Roman dropping the title, or was it about Raw versus SmackDown?
Okay, it was about Roman. See, people will say, I know you've heard me say he needs to drop the title. People have said, it's not time for him. It's not time. Bro, it's scripted. He could lose at any time, and they can make it look so good. Number one, it's WWE production. They can make it look good very easily. Number two, it's the World Wrestling Entertainment. Anything can happen. I remember the World Wrestling Federation. Anything can happen here in the WWF. That's my best Vince McMahon impression at that time.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I'm not good with impressions. I'm really not. So I'll try not to do those too much. But yeah,
man, no, do it, man. You're
just
good.
those two factors right there. I mean,
exactly.
So that whole it's not time for him, bro. That's any time is a good time.
Honestly, I have no idea when they're planning on him dropping the title.
Oh, I've
heard.
Yeah, I've
heard. What I'm saying? It's like it's like, okay, it should be a time whenever they're ready for that next baby face. But how long is that going to be? Are they going to build? Big E hasn't faced him yet. Is he going to be the one that they're going to build up?
Who?
Yeah, Big E.
Okay, yeah, Big E would be a good one. I think he would be a good one.
When are they going to do that? What is going to be the thing that you build him up for?
And that's another thing we could discuss. Well, I got
Yeah.
to say, but I've seen dirt sheets say anywhere from SummerSlam to
Yes. Yep.
WrestleMania, and I'm sorry, but dirt sheets they're losing credibility with me. They're
Yeah.
actually, yeah, they are. There's only really one dirt sheet that I follow,
Mhm.
NoDQ.com.
Mhm.
That's the one I follow the most, and that's just because like a lot of their stuff is accurate.
Yeah.
Shout
Yeah.
out,
Yeah. I like New Dicky.
and shout out to Aaron Rift as well because I'm friends with him on Facebook, and so if I mention his website but not him, I'm a jerk. So shout out to you, Aaron Rift. Yeah. Uh, okay. Is there anything else you would like to chit chat about wrestling?
Yeah, man. Let's we had mentioned earlier we were gonna talk about stars from different
Oh
eras.
yes, I
Like,
guess we can end on
yeah,
that. Yeah, sure.
we can end on that. And I also want to add a little bit to that discussion. What do you feel is missing in modern wrestling as far as creating new stars and talent that people can invest in? Like, are we ever
Patience.
gonna see like more viewers for wrestling? What is going to be the thing that gets people to tune in? Like,
That's a great
now
question.
I want to hear
Yeah.
your take on that, man.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take it question by question. So, what is missing in modern wrestling? Patience. People,
Mm,
hang on. The
mm,
storylines, and characters, they're not giving enough time. They're not giving enough time to really build.
mm,
I would say that the Miz and the Miz and Damian Priest's feud was good,
mm-hmm,
but there was too much hokey stuff. They should have kept it between Priest and the Miz. They didn't need to add Bad
mm-hmm.
Bunny. Not that he didn't do great at WrestleMania. He
Yeah,
did.
he did. He did.
Props to that. They didn't need to add Morrison, and they damn sure did not need to add those damn zombies to the fucking lumberjack match.
You know what, man? It's
And I,
funny because you have all they've used the Damian Priest and Miz beef as a backdrop for other things. Bad Bunny with their, celebrity connection, freaking
yes,
the zombies for, like, oh, let's sweet, like they got, I mean, they got some money for it. It's a promotional deal. So
I
they've
get
used that
that.
feud for promotion, but not really for Damian Priest.
Right, and that's what Damian Priest needed. He didn't need to be used for promotion. He needed to be
Mm-hmm.
used to build him up, make him a star. They could have made him the next challenger, Bobby Lashley, but
Yes.
they didn't. And this is where we're at now. Um, but I believe that Priest versus Lashley is a money match for
Oh,
the
yeah.
world title. Absolutely, I believe that. And so patience in developing time or in developing stories and talent is missing. I will say that they are doing that on SmackDown with Roman as the bad guy. That
Mm-hmm.
is a character that I am invested in. I want to
Oh,
see
yeah.
that bad guy lose already. That's how
Exactly.
invested I am into that character. So, and then what else was part of your character? Oh, do you think, or do I think rather, that wrestling will be as hot as it once was? Right? Was it
Mm-hmm.
just your question?
And yeah,
Um,
and I mean, I'm not even saying like, boom period levels. I'm just
no.
saying where we can get millions of viewers tuning in. Like maybe Ruthless Aggression, maybe early 2010s. I'm talking about even if we even lower like the the threshold to that, Because what happened to those people that were still watching after
Um,
the boom period?
yeah, I think we could get there again. Um, I think we could get there again with the right talent on top, and but again, time. Time is of the essence.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? And
yes,
time is key. And you're not going to get these stars unless you put time into them. You can put as much
exactly.
money as you want into them and give them all the cool entrances and the cool ring
Mm-hmm.
gear. But that means nothing if the fans are not invested. And
Ooh.
I'm sorry to say this, but I don't care what a wrestler is wearing. I don't care how cool the tights are, the trunks are, the pads are. I want to see what that guy can do in the ring, and I want to see what his character is.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
instance, CM Punk and John Cena, Money in the Bank 2011. I was so invested into that match. All the
Mm-hmm.
promos that led up to, I thought, okay, when CM Punk did that pipe bomb promo in Vegas, when he did that pipe bomb
Mm-hmm.
promo, I was so invested. I'm like, damn, that was real. That had to be real.
Yes.
There was nothing fake about what he said. Everything he said was real, right? And I even I
Mm-hmm.
went on all kinds of dirt sheets to find out if it's real or not. Nobody fucking
Yes.
knew. That was nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I listened to this PWR show, and they kind of brought some sense into it. And they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
the guy David Hero, he said, hands
Mm-hmm.
down, it's a work because there's no way that promo goes 3 seconds without Vince knowing about it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that made sense. I'm like, okay. But
But
still, the contract
yeah,
thing was real. And so when they did the match, I'm like, okay, who is going to win? Cena can't lose because Punk can't just take the title and leave. But at the
yes.
same time, and they can't fire him. And so you had to believe that Cena was going to win. But then
Yes.
Punk, man, you didn't want Punk to lose because it was in Punk's
Yes.
hometown
Yes.
and Punk was on fire. And you're like, I don't want Punk to lose, but I can't see Cena losing. And you're like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did the match. And just, by the way, that match itself, without the story, was just
Because
fantastic.
they still told the story in the
In the
match.
ring. And that match,
Yes.
the match itself was a 5 out of 5 out of me, right?
Yes. For
But
me,
that
it was too.
my ratings, I know my ratings mean about as much as Dave Meltzer's 5-star rating. So, but we can get to Dave too if you want, by the way. But
Oh yeah.
okay, cool. But yeah, I thought that match was just fantastic, and then Punk
Mm-hmm.
won, and I'm like, ooh, well, what's next? And then that whole segment, they
Exactly.
just fucked it all up.
Yes.
Fucked it all
But
up.
that leading into that first match, that Money in the Bank, the build, the match, and the outcome, that's pro wrestling at its best.
Bingo. Because again, you had time and you had money into it. And
Yes.
you
And
had
it felt
all of
real.
this, huh?
Like you just said, it felt real.
It felt real. Exactly. And Punk has gone on record and saying, I don't hate John Cena. I actually like John. You and I were cool. Like, we're not
Yes.
best friends. We don't call each other, but, there's no beef. So,
Yeah.
fantastic. So, that thing. And then I wanted to get into Dave real quick, and then we can go into
Yeah,
your final
man.
subject. I blistered Dave. His ratings don't shit. People,
Sometimes he needs the blistering, though. Most respect to all he's done and his knowledge of the history of wrestling. His opinions on it, I can take or leave.
right.
But his knowledge of certain things, like, that's amazing. He's like a, walking, encyclopedia.
Fat,
Now, his opinions,
just like
exactly.
Jim Cornette. Just like Jim Cornette.
Exactly.
Just like Jim
But
Cornette.
those opinions, man, it's
But-
like, okay.
Take it or leave. But then you listen to him talk, and I'm just going to do my best Dave impression just for a split. So just ask me a question. Ask me one question.
So what do you think about Double or Nothing coming up?
So, Double or Nothing. It's like, I don't know. I don't understand. Okay, so it's like Young Bucks. Okay, so I guess I should start with this. Well, no. I should start at the base.
Dave, you didn't answer the question. Answer the question, Dave.
I should start at the very beginning. So when I heard about Double or Nothing for 2021, I was like, okay, the buy rates are what they are, and they might be high and they might be low, but the thing is, it's like, but they're better than WWE in the sense of, well, no, not really, but yeah.
Man,
So-
your impression is spot on.
Yeah.
That is spot
It's like
on,
it's like wait.
Yes.
Like, dude, just answer the damn question. And you know that Brian Alvarez is sitting on the other end of the line, just going.
Yes, he is, and you can hear it from him.
You can hear it, yeah. You can hear it. You can just hear
He's
him
like,
go.
"Come on, Dave!" Like,
Yeah. It's just like,
It's hilarious.
Oh God, right? And but yeah, I mean, writing wise and knowledge wise, yeah, Meltzer is very smart. But just and I thought at first, like, man, well, maybe Dave just has Tourette's. But I don't think that's the case. I just think he doesn't know what to say on the spot.
Yeah.
And I'm like that too sometimes, where I repeat myself. But I'm not as repetitive as well. It's like.
Yeah.
I mean, you asked
It's
me
like he's trying to dance around the answer.
exactly.
Yeah, that's how he talks.
And I'm of the impression that he and Alvarez and that gang, they are under employment of AEW to some sort.
It
You,
has to be. There has to be some kind of working relationship.
yes.
Has to be.
Yes.
Has to be.
There's no other.
It's
because
honestly, I can't really say that they lay into AEW when they should.
Right.
As the way that they lay. The same things that they'll criticize WWE for.
They'll praise
where's
AEW.
That same energy? Yeah, where's that same energy with AEW?
I just saw a video that they posted today, and it said the problem with NXT. That was the title of the video. I'm like, okay, so I make a comment. Mm-hmm. Okay, are we going to see a problem with AEW video anytime soon?
Mm-mm.
And crickets in the comments section for that one.
Yeah,
people were like, nah. I'm like,
yeah. It's like, look,
that same
I understand
energy?
Exactly. I understand people's frustration with WWE. We said it. It's like
we've had our frustrations.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, but if you're gonna do that, then AEW is not perfect. So
no. And I've heard him criticize AEW on some of their shows.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard it, but still. Okay, so let's get into our final topic.
Yeah.
The biggest star of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we could just do it this way. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling? I would say Mount Rushmore of WWE. Let's just say pro wrestling.
Oh, just pro wrestling? Sure. It's funny because I did like a small video on my channel about Mount Rushmore.
Do you want to keep it confined to just WWE? Would that be easier?
Honestly, I can give you my answer, but I can just tell you that my answer is very WWE centric.
Okay, so is mine. So let's just keep it WWE.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah. So for me, my Mount Rushmore is Hogan, Flair, Taker, and The Rock.
Okay. My Mount Rushmore would probably be Hogan, Taker, Austin, and Cena. Although hang on, let me redo that.
Yeah.
Hogan, Brett. I said Brett. Okay, Hogan, Brett, Undertaker, and Cena. And I can't say The Rock.
Brett, Undertaker, and Cena.
Yeah, I can't say The Rock and Stone Cold because I know that they are heavily praised and they were great in their time. But the thing is, their time was so short at the top. When you look at it.
That's a valid criticism.
When you look at it.
That is a valid
Austin
criticism.
was only on top from 98 to 97 up until 99. And then he kind of just disappeared and was never the same after that. Rock was only on top from 98 up until 2002, and then he was done.
Right.
Whereas Taker was almost always on top.
Mm-hmm.
Brett was on top from 92 until 97.
Yes.
So he was on top for a long time. Cena was on top from 2005 from 2005 until 2018, 2019 when he left.
I would say for him, it ended maybe around 2015.
Okay, yeah, so we can do that. So he was on top for a decade. Whereas you look at the longevity of Austin and Rock in 2-4 years, it's not that impressive. Not that what they did wasn't impressive. It's just that their time at the top.
That is a very legitimate point. But just because we brought this up, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Is it just the longevity, or is it the impact that you make within the years that you're there?
Okay.
Because
Well, okay.
San Martino, where does San
Martino.
Martino fit into the discussion? You know,
He fits
where
in there. I would say pro wrestling. Pro wrestling Mount
yeah,
Rushmore, not just WWE.
mm-hmm.
I'd say the pro
yeah,
wrestling.
yeah.
And you had a good point there with the whole, was it the longevity or was it the impact? Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. When you really boil it down, what impact did Stone Cold have on the business? Because he didn't make it go mainstream. Hogan did that. So he kind of.
Arguably, though, they both did. And arguably, they both did. Because Hogan made it mainstream in the 80s. He was very instrumental. You know, he was the reason, him and Vince were the reason why WWF went from, you know, basically a territory to being a global phenomenon. But the business was in decline. It was going down. When Austin came through, he transformed the business itself.
Mm-hmm.
That attitude, or for lack of a better phrase, that transformed the business where it was, and it basically maxed it out.
Okay.
Arguably. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took it to his limits. It, you know, the merch sales, like, the impact, you can ask pretty much anybody, like, you know, even if they're not familiar with wrestling, they know who Stone Cold is. Yes. They know who Stone Cold is.
Okay.
Yes.
But you can also say people know who Ric Flair is. People know who Hulk Hogan is. People know who The Undertaker is. And people know who John Cena is.
Yes.
So
that's why any of those are great choices.
And people know who Bret Hart is.
Not as much as the other ones.
No.
Bret would not be on my Mount Rushmore, man. Like, him and Shawn, they're at, like, the tier below for me.
Okay.
You know? Now, for me, the way that I structure mine, I basically quintessential pro wrestler, you know, like the accomplishments within the business, you know, as far as like the wrestling side, you know, and for pro wrestling, Flair took that. Longevity of career, you know, the character, the theatrical side of wrestling, Taker took that slot.
Okay.
Big money draw, you know, revolutionized, you know, the business, you know, the big face on top. Hogan took that.
Okay.
Rock, because he transcended the business, you know?
He did. He did. He really did.
Mm-hmm. So now he's like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, those were the way that I structured my slots for Rushmore.
Right.
Hogan part, you could have, for me, you could have put in Austin in that. You could have put in, you know, Cena in that slot. You know, Rock, you know, the Rock and Hogan ones are a little bit similar as far as, like, the criteria I use.
Yeah.
The other ones, I mean, you can play around with, you know. I don't fault anybody for putting Bret Hart into theirs. I don't fault anybody for putting Shawn Michaels in theirs. For me, they wouldn't, you know, but I can't say that, oh, you know, they shouldn't be. Exactly. Yeah. And I don't want to minimize what they did, but to me, it's like they're just step below.
They're just okay. Well, that's going to do it for this week's Seibelmania Friends podcast. I want to thank my man Brandon for coming on. Hey, real quick, plug our YouTube. Plug our YouTube before you forget.
Hey, yes, sir. So I'm repping this EK shirt. You can see it's in the, you know, style of the WWE logo.
There you go.
Enlightened Comedy, we're a parody and skit channel. We're doing a lot of wrestling focused content. The last video that we dropped was a Bobby Lashley, rest in peace to the Hurt Business, parody of Cardi B's song Up. So if you haven't seen it, please check it out. We basically take him winning the title up until, like, you know, him dominating Drew at Mania. Okay. Well, fantastic. Hey, Brandon, man, thanks for joining us on the second episode. I loved it. And until next time, this is Seibelmania and my friend. We are signing out.